the change starts from within. So we need to be the change. That's what we need to do. Oh, well, I'm just one person. What difference is that going to make on the scale of things? Oh, well, it makes a big difference.
Meet the woman who is ready to dethrone the dairy industry.
Better for you, for your health, it's better for the planet, and it's better for the animals. We're very passionate about it because it's not just an option for dairy-free people or vegan people.
Aline Fonseca is the founder, the mastermind, the beauty and the brains behind Vutter, the non-dairy butter.
It's an option for everyone because it tastes delicious, it's clean, it's natural, there's no unnecessary shit in there. We often get really haters coming into our Facebook posts saying, don't call it a butter. It's not a butter. You should just call it a spread or margarine. Oh, this is rubbish. It's plastic. Or we get a lot of that. What are you doing? We need the farmers. Dear Diary, we are in crisis management. We are broke, can hardly afford our mortgage. And everyone around me, my husband included, want me to close the business and go get a full-time job. But my instincts are screaming to give them all the finger and carry on. What the fuck do I do?
Welcome to the Powerhouse Diaries, the podcast for and by brave, bold, and badass business owners. If you're an entrepreneur who has outgrown those cookie-cutter business strategies and hashtag girl boss cliches, you're in the right place. Because let's face it, entrepreneurship is at least equal parts messy buns and runny mascara as it is the highlight reel we see online. So let's get real about what it really takes to build and run a quote-unquote successful business, blood, sweat, and margaritas included. I'm your host, Yaela, your rebellious entrepreneurial fairy godmother, and join me as I sit down with rockstar female founders for the most juicy, deep, and meaningfuls around success, life, and everything in between. Now it's time for you to step into your powerhouse era. Welcome to the Powerhouse Diaries, and today meet the woman who is ready to dethrone the dairy industry. Aline Fonseca is the founder, the mastermind, the beauty and the brains behind Vutter, the non-dairy butter, and is one of the most heart-led leaders that I have ever met. I am beyond excited to welcome her here. Welcome so much, Aline.
Thank you.
Oh my
nice
God.
to be here.
I'm so excited. You know, we're not here to fuck spiders. Let's write. You mentioned, that moment, that Dear Diary moment where everyone around you and potentially also logic, everything is screaming like throw in the towel. This is not working, and yet you had this fire, this intuitive knowing. How did you get to a point where that intuition, that gut feeling was so strong, and how did you find the courage to follow it?
How did I do that? I just couldn't do it. Your body is not going to let you. Your instincts are so strong, and rationally it was the right thing to do. So yeah, we were in the middle of a crisis management and looking at the business, we were spending money every time we sold a tub of butter. So the money was gone, there was nothing left. And yeah, it was the right thing to do. Go and get a full-time job so that you can help pay the bills in the house. Yeah. Well, Patrick's still working full-time in his architecture business, right? So obviously the pressure's coming from him as well, and we've got kids and whatnot. But it wasn't fitting in. I was saying to him, but that doesn't fit in. It's not working. It's not letting me do it.
That's so brave. It is actually what I've had that moment a couple of times in my lifetime and career. And when I was younger, early in my entrepreneurial journey, I completely ignored all those cues, cues like my somatic cues from my body, and just like rationally overrode all of them with disastrous
that's right.
Because you know what, it's treason. It's treason to yourself if you know something so deeply. But it's hard to trust that, especially.
It really is. I mean, I did. I tried. I applied for jobs. I went for interviews. Was I really wanting a job? God, no. I'm just trying to please everyone around me.
Tell us a little bit more, because you're in business with your husband, and that can, offer its own set of amazing opportunities and challenges. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, we are quite an interesting couple, because we work together, live together, raise children together, party together. We're best friends, but that also, running a business together is a real big challenge. It's like raising babies, right?
Yes.
When, you're two heads and two hearts. thinking different things, often. We didn't have children together. We raised children together, but blended. So we call Vutter our baby because,
this is your love child.
It is our love child. And I mean, I am full-time in the business, and Patrick is mostly part-time, and he does a lot of work behind the scenes, but it's really complicated. Even having Patrick around, it can feel pretty lonely when I'm full-time making all the decisions, because he's busy with his business. I don't want to bother him every 5 minutes, but I kind of do, because I'm right there and I need to talk to someone, I need to bounce this back. And he keeps on going, Aline, shut up, you're driving me crazy. I can't do this now. I'm trying to, pay the bills or whatever, So yeah, we do clash a bit, but we know how to resolve. I'm a very explosive person. I'm a very intuitive person, and impulsive in a lot of ways. But Patrick is a little bit more someone that thinks about everything and wants to process. He wants time, and I go, but I know it's right, and it has to be done now. So he, over the years, obviously we've been 11 years together. He kind of trusts me a bit more, because most of the times it went right, even though he was like, no, we need to think about it. Let's not. And later he goes, oh, you were right.
Yeah, you balance it.
Yeah, so he calms me a lot too.
Yes, that enhances each other.
Yeah.
I can also imagine, because, you say it really beautifully. We play together, we party together, we work together, we raise children together, and your love child, Vutter. But how do you kind of separate out? And what I mean by that, it's hard for any entrepreneur, right? Everyone's business is a little bit their baby, and we don't have the quote unquote luxury of closing the door behind us and leaving work at the door. But even less so when you're both so heavily invested, and especially when things get tough and you're like going under. How do you create kind of that sacred space for both your relationship, your family, yourself?
That's a really good question. How do we separate? I don't think we do, but we manage. We've got quite a healthy way to our relationship as well. We've got amazing friends and community around us, and we both really love people, and we love our social time. So we make ourselves do that a lot. Yeah. So we kind of recharge by being around people, by going out dancing, by seeing our friends. We feel like we wouldn't be doing this without our village.
Yes.
That's a huge part for us. We do talk a lot about Vutter at home, but we do because we
also
both...
when we're dead.
and our friends, the poor friends are sick and tired of this shit. But, we love it. We do it because we're passionate about it. And sometimes we just go, actually, we're talking about work again. And then we try to change the subject, and then 5 minutes later we're there again. Yeah. Because we're being creative. I don't know, what we're doing is quite powerful for both of us. There's a lot of determination and passion, but there is a big will towards what we're doing. We're doing it for a big reason, and the reason is bigger than us. It's our purpose in a lot of ways. Like, we both feel this way about it.
Because I think that's so, it's so important to have that bigger vision, especially, for it to be bigger than you, where it's actually like in a book I recently read, they talk about the choiceless choice. And I love it, because it's like, yes, I'm making a choice, but it's really the choiceless choice, because I'm so committed to the vision that I can't do anything else but follow this. What is this big vision? What is this legacy that you are both working towards?
Yeah, we see it as giving an option to everyone, and it's an option that's better for you, for your health. It's better for the planet, and it's better for the animals. What is it not to, and we're very passionate about it, because it's not just an option for dairy-free people or vegan people. It's an option for everyone, because it tastes delicious, it's clean, it's natural, there's no unnecessary shit in there, there's no additives. We don't believe in that stuff. It's providing that choice for everyone. It's a hard one. It's not an easy sell, because a lot of the times the word vegan is seen as a very negative
there's a lot of stigma.
There is a lot of stigma, and fair enough.
There's a lot of angry vegans.
There is.
Sorry, don't want to make anyone angry.
Angry on both sides, and then we want to stay away from all that. We don't want to play in guilt in people. We don't want to. We want to provide something that's so delicious that it doesn't matter. Yeah. It happens to be vegan, that's great, but it's not the point. So it's changing the way we're doing things. I think it's time. I think the world's moving towards that. And for me personally, for people to make a choice, a food choice, it has to be really good. It can't just be because it's better for the environment. Yeah, but it doesn't taste good, so what's the point? So I'm going to go back to what tastes nice.
Yeah.
You know, humans
even
are like
health,
that.
even your own health. If you know something is better for you, but you just don't like the flavor,
you're not going
we
to
will still opt
on.
out.
Yeah. So we want pleasure. We want what's good and yummy and nourishes our soul, right? Because that's what food does.
Yeah.
It's connection. It's that whole, you know, feel good. It's the memory. It's the good things about it. And so that's why it's so big for us, I think, because we feel like we're making a little bit of a difference by having that.
You absolutely are. It's funny. There's a saying in Dutch, when you're making an impact, it's like you're denting a pack of butter. But it's exactly. So I just wanted to say that just came to my mind. It's like you're really denting the pack of butter.
Oh, I love it. I'm going to have to look that one up.
But yeah, that is beautiful to have this big vision. I can imagine it can feel quite like a bit of pressure and quite overwhelming at times because you're not doing this just for you, because you're here to change the world into the pack of butter. On the days where you want to just like curl up and lie in fetal position, you know, how do you make sure you maintain that kind of centeredness, that groundedness, and don't get consumed by this pressure to change the world?
Yeah, it's a good question. There's a lot of those moments. Yeah, there's a lot of the fetal position, the crying, the tears, the why am I doing this and not just living in Bali or something, you know. I think the pressure comes from us. And the most important thing, I think, because we're very realistic about what we did from the start. Obviously, the challenges came and you're never prepared. You think you are, but you're not, right? But understanding that the most important thing is to have a sustainable business. And we have achieved that. So that's after a lot of tears, a lot of, you know, me almost quitting everything and shutting everything and all that. The goal is there, the vision is there. We feel like we have achieved a lot of it. And from now on is, you know, reaching more people. It's getting it more available, you know, and continue to push through. There is a lot in the pipeline for us. We have plans to follow through and develop other products and create other things following the same, you know,
the same
principles, the same goals, and you know, having a sustainable business means that we can do that. Now we can actually reach people. We're not just spending all of our finances to be there because we're bootstrapped all the way. We haven't got investors. We haven't got money from other people in the business. It's just, we've done this just growing organically, which is really hard.
Oh,
really
I've done
hard.
that once. I've done that once, from like the kitchen table to at the end, like a multi-million-dollar multinational business. The hard way. And I had a service-based business. And that actually leads into the next question perfectly, because creating a product with R&D, with all the regulations and legislation around it, safety, production, distribution, like even just saying this sentence, how did this, you know, little girl from Brazil end up creating a dairy-free alternative to butter without really knowing what she was doing?
Yeah. Food has always been a huge part of my life. My dad's a chef. So I started quite early following his footsteps. And by a very young age, I was cooking and running restaurants and whatnot. Coming to New Zealand, I had a little bit of experience in the food industry, working for an organic food company and a wine company. And I really enjoyed the buzz of being in sales and selling something that I really loved, especially for the organic food. And that kind of put me in a position that I kind of knew a little bit about how to put a product out there and talk to the people, talk the language of the supermarkets and the retailers and whatnot. So that was something. But coming from a very heavy dairy country in Brazil, a very heavy dairy state, which is where I'm from, having been a chef, meat and dairy eater, and cooking heavily with butter and cream mostly in my food. I think when we went vegan at home, and it was a choice that we had, I just couldn't stand not having butter. I just thought margarine is just crap. I don't want to have that rubbish. It tastes disgusting. You know, it's hydrogenated oils mixed with some processed stuff. It just doesn't taste nice. And so when I started, okay, well, I need to do something about it, and I started making it at home. The first time I blended it in our blender and we ate, I was like, holy shit, this is it.
Yeah.
You know, because I suppose a lot of chefs maybe have this dream of having a product maybe one day, and
Yes.
to be able to share their passion and their love, which is to feed people, to bring memories, to give that nice feeling to people in a bigger scale. So that thought and that feeling I always had, that want and that dream. So I knew then, that moment, I was like, this is it. It took a couple of years. I was busy. We were running, you know, little kids at the time, and I had a full-time job. I was busy. Patrick was busy. We were like, there's no fucking way I'm going to have any time to do this. But when COVID hit and the time came and the world stopped and the opportunity arose, I went, well, there it is. Let's give it a crack.
Yeah.
So it was a bit of an opportunist kind of moment. You know, it was right time at the right place maybe, but it's crazy. I still look at myself and go, what the heck are you doing? Food, chilled category, pretty much a category that doesn't exist, because you either have butter or margarine. You're trying to come in and say, oh, this is neither of them, just chuck it in the middle. And they were all looking at me going, this is a margarine, it's not a butter. I was like, no, mate, it's not. So it's a really stupid idea, you know, like, what are you doing?
It's funny because when I first moved to New Zealand, I still had my agency. My agency was a niche agency in the hospitality industry. And I started a branch here in New Zealand. And working with local people here, I would give ideas of stuff, how we did it with the agency in the different countries in Europe and in the Caribbean where we had our offices. And I don't think I've ever heard the sentence, no, we don't do that here, as much as I did in those first few months. And the funny thing was, when I hear that, I hear an invitation. I'm like, great, let's try, let's add it. Yeah. But what I realized that actually meant, now please don't do that here. I mean, and it's not just a Kiwi. No. Maybe I tend to kind of, like you, break the rules, push the boundaries a bit. So maybe it was more my concepts than the culture. But in general, the dairy and just food industry as a whole, we're quite change adverse. Like, change happens slowly.
Yeah, no, people are not really keen on change. It's a very interesting thing. Like, we know we're in the brinks of collapse, and we all know what we need to do, but people just look on the outside for solutions and go, oh, someone needs to do something about this.
Yes.
And I'm sorry to say, but the change starts from within. So we need to be the change. That's what we need to do. And that's it. You know, a lot of people, the excuse is, oh, well, I'm just one person. What difference is that going to make on the scale of things? Oh, well, it makes a big difference. Yeah. If everyone starts realizing that they can do something about something they want to change.
Everything, I think we live in a world where, generally speaking, we outsource a lot of our power outside, where the minute we take that back, if I kind of take that principle just onto entrepreneurship, that's kind of what the whole like powerhouse ecosystem, so not just the diaries, but all the other businesses attached to it, are about, is like, when we start as female founders, we often outsource our power and look for the right way, someone to teach us the right way, to give us the template, to do it just as everyone else is doing. But the moment we, what I call, step into our powerhouse era, is the moment we realize, oh no, the change starts within, whether that is on a global warming level or within yourself. And like, oh no, when I take charge, when I trust my gut, that's when things change.
Absolutely. It's the trust.
Yeah.
And the trust is so important. Trust yourself.
So how have you learned to trust and back yourself that way?
I think I learned by actually trusting and seeing things happen. And even when the dream is really big, that someone will say, what are you talking about? There's no way you're going to achieve that. And you trust and you work towards, because you're not just going to trust and sit there waiting, right? You need to actually put the mahi and the work in there and the heart. And when you see it happen, you go, there it is.
Yeah.
You know, it's always a surprise, but it's not a surprise.
Yeah, it is.
You know?
I talk about like meeting the universe halfway, and it's like you set the intention and you have this goal and you have the vision, and it's kind of like a bus you want to catch, right? This bus is going somewhere. You're not going to sit at home just waiting. Like you need to get up and go to the bus stop. Otherwise, you're not getting on this bus.
Yeah.
But you're also not going to get on the bus and then tell the driver how to drive the bus or like start fucking around with the engine.
No.
You know, like you say, you have the vision and you move towards it.
Yeah, and be prepared, because it won't be easy.
Yeah.
It's never easy, but it's always a learning. And that's the steps that you need to do to achieve that goal. And very often, and that's probably everyone, you look at yourself and go, what am I doing? You know, and you cry and you feel despair and what have I done? But you know, if you keep your goal and your heart in the place and you carry on, you're often going to get to where you want to be.
Absolutely.
Even sometimes even further than you expected. Yeah.
There's miracles.
The universe will play its part. But
my mantra lately is like, thank you, more please, and show me how good it can get. You know, because I don't want to like box myself into what I can imagine. Like, show me what else is out there. And like, and look, here we are. So
that's gorgeous. I love it.
Something like that's been burning, like I've been wanting to ask you is, you know, those old political posters of like the revolution? I kind of feel like you're like leading the revolution and standing up against like a very large, very powerful industry. It really feels like a bit of a David and Goliath energy.
Yeah.
How has that experience been for you? Is that scary at times? And
yeah, a little. I think I try not to see it so much as going against, but more as maybe showing a new way, or a way where we can somehow find a better way. We often get really haters coming into our Facebook posts saying, don't call it a butter, it's not a butter, or you should just call it a spread, or margarine, or oh, this is rubbish, it's plastic, or we get a lot of that. What are you doing? We need the farmers, you know. And
as if you're like executing the farmers one by one.
Yeah, and obviously they're talking to a brand, right? They don't know who's behind it. They have no idea. So I very calmly, every time I go in there and I reply, and I try to reply with quite a bit of love, and I try to say, look, that's not what we're doing. This is disgusting. I go, have you tried it? You know, like, please do give it a try. You might have someone that's dairy-free in your family. Why don't you try? It's really yummy. You'd be surprised. Love heart. I always do, but I always use a little green love heart. It's my signature. And often they will come back and say, oh, I'm really sorry. I didn't mean to badmouth your business, or it often happens. Sometimes they just give me a little Sometimes it's giving me a little thumbs up, but it's a lot of misconception. It's a lot of that whole separation that the world is at the moment. It's quite intense in both sides, and often we're labeled one side and against the other side. And I try really hard to not be pushed into sides, and to kind of say, look, it's not about hating the farmers. I don't hate the farmers. You know, I'm not saying that. I'm not telling you don't drink milk, don't eat this. You do you, and you will do you. What's good for you, what's right for you. But this is something that could be interesting, and that this could potentially be a way of doing things. You know. So I guess that's how I see it. I try not to create many enemies. I don't like enemies.
Have you had any, like, from a business point of view, pushback from big corporations or lobbies or struggles getting?
Yeah, it's not an easy one to get. We've been in supermarkets since 2021. I think it was the first time we started sending stock to supermarkets, and we still have a lot of pushbacks, and it's not easy. Space on the shelf is quite limited, and we're pretty much very small still, so a lot of those big guys are not really too worried about us. Maybe after the awards now, they're kind of going, who is this?
Tell us about the awards.
Oh, well, it was a mind-blowing moment. That's when you kind of go, what just happened?
Yeah, pinch me.
I still don't actually believe it. Well, I do, but so yeah, no, this was a big deal. We were finalists in the New Zealand Food Awards, which is a big deal. We were finalists in 2 categories, chilled and artisan, and we weren't even going to go to this fancy as gala event where they announced the winners, but luckily we did go.
Yeah, thank God. It would have been embarrassing.
But no idea that we could possibly ever win anything. And yeah, so we got called on stage for the Chilled Awards, which was already ridiculously huge because in our category we had salmon, we had salami, we had real butter, we had yogurt, all mainstream products, big companies, big names, and tiny little us, and they called us, and we were like, what the fuck just happened? So, and then as if that wasn't enough, at the end they go, right, now we're going to call the supreme winner of the entire New Zealand food industry and put 10 names on the board, and there we are again. And I go, what? We're on the finalists for the supreme winner? And then they called us, and I was just like, what the fuck? And I'm talking the biggest companies in New Zealand in the room. Those guys have been in the market doing what they're doing for 20, 30, 40 years. Yeah. And we just had to stand there and go, okay, are you sure?
But that's also, I would say, such a message hope for any impact-driven change makers, game changers out there who sometimes feel like they're fighting this big wolf and like that's never going to happen or that's not possible. Yeah. Like this is such a story. Hope.
Yeah, it definitely is. I mean, we never expected, because with so many big powers in the room, you wouldn't think they would give you the awards to such a small little player that's trying to do something so ridiculously unusual and different than everyone else. Yeah, and this is an award powered by Massey University Food Technology, Food Science School, and we are the ones making a product with 0 synthetic additives, with the cleanest process you can get, with expensive ingredients. Like we're just doing everything against the odds. Like, and I don't know, I still can't believe it. So yeah, it is a message of hope.
Doors. I know it's very recent and fresh, but what doors do you reckon this has opened, just in your experience of what is possible?
Well, I hope it will open many doors. Like I said, not even scratching the distribution channels in New Zealand. So this is for us, could be the door that we were waiting for, to actually reach more people and get people to know we exist and that there is a choice. So that's the first door. Our goal has always been to actually get to as many people as we can as an option. But also I think in terms of getting the business in a sustainable place and give us the opportunity to create new things, because that's what we love doing. We both love food. Patrick loves it as well, and creating more products in a similar kind of way would be really great, and potentially looking at other markets as well, because we want Vutter for everyone. We want people to be able to have that option in their life. So yeah.
Oh, I love that. And if you need guinea pigs,
I will.
You know where to
for
find
sure.
me. Just wrapping up or gearing towards the end, but I'm very curious. Looking back at young Aline, which is the same place that a lot of young female entrepreneurs are at now, her on the shoulder, and give her one piece of advice. What would you love her to know?
You've got this. You've got this, girl.
Yes.
Just keep going. Just trust. Don't listen to them. Just go for it. That's what I would say.
I want to just clip that and have that as my ringtone. Just trust. Go for it, girl. And then let's future pace for a second, right? Future pace to old and grey Aline, or looking back at the ripple effect of good she created in the world. What is the legacy? What is it that you look back on, or that you want to look back on in terms of business?
I would like to actually get to a point that I can see, it was all worth it. It was all, everything happened for a reason, because doing what I'm doing comes with a lot of sacrifices as well, and personal life, and we're going through quite a few things with our family at the moment, with children and whatnot, and those things can be quite heavy and quite hard, and it's really easy to look at myself and go, shit, I did this to myself. I was too focused on the business and I didn't pay attention on where I should be paying attention. And, you know, it's too easy to second guess. And I would like my older self to be quite relaxed about, it all worked out well in the end. You followed your gut and it took you to where you are, and it all worked out and everyone's happy. And
I mean, that resonates so deeply. Like, I just feel it in every cell of my body. And I think anyone, especially any parent entrepreneur, right, knows that the second it becomes around about our kids, no matter how old they are. I thought it would get easier when they were teenagers. That was funny.
That's what we thought.
But, you know, like, our lives are beautifully entwined in the sense that it is all of those things. It is business, it is family, it is relationship. It all kind of blends together. And it needs to, because everything in life touches everything. But that trust, you know, that you so blindly dare to follow when it comes to kind of your business instincts. When anything happens with our children, it creates so much static on the line, and it's so hard to check in. Are you coming from fear? Are you coming from love? And where is my radio attuned to?
We're all children, so we're all learning. We're learning how to parent as well.
Yes.
And there is no right or wrong. I think it's easy to look back and blame yourself, but it's not really going to do any good, is it?
Absolutely
you can't change the past. You can only move forward in this life. So it's just trusting, but also learning from your mistakes and fixing what you can fix when there's still time,
and
you know.
Moving. And I think, you know, actually my son said it to me one time in a conversation. I think he was around 15 at the time, and all of a sudden you could see like something drop. Like, he just stopped with his like argumentative, like, and he's like, oh, I'm like, what's going on? He's like, this is also your first time doing this. And I'm like, yes!
Oh, that's so wonderful.
And I'm like, that's exactly it. I'm like, I don't know what
a good young man.
I know. And I said, listen, the weird thing is you guys didn't come with an IKEA manual.
No,
like, I
manual.
don't know.
No, that's exactly right.
Yeah, that is beautiful. Usually we close our interviews with a question that you might have for me. Do you have anything that you'd like me to get into?
I am finding fascinating, and who inspires you to do this? Where is this coming from? Because this is such a wonderful, awesome thing that you're doing. I don't know.
I have a painfully true answer for that, which is what I like. Which
Yeah,
is what
bring it on. I want to hear it.
I think what used to drive me, and it wasn't that long ago. Like, I used to talk about my like previous business and stuff, and like a past life, because it felt like a different person. And I like to think that it ended there, but it didn't. What used to inspire me was not enoughness, was fear, was wanting to prove myself to some invisible force, and always chasing this like ever-moving goalpost. Because that's the thing, if you come from like strive, like it's never good enough. There's always more, there's always better. And I think that was the driving force, that was the fuel behind most of my quote unquote success. And it's very, very powerful and potent fuel. Like, you get like, and it kills you, like on all levels, emotionally, energetically, physically. It kills you. And at one point you crash. Whether you choose to or not, at one point, like, it just stops. And I think one of the hardest things for me was finding something that driving force, that inspiration, that motivation, but from a healthy place. Because I know very well how to move and how to make shit happen when I'm under pressure or coming from, I've lived most of my life in that space. So what inspires me now is the memory of that girl. I look at that girl, a grown woman, but I look at her and I have so much compassion for how hard she tried to be worthy. And I know that is such a big thing for so many of us, especially if we're entrepreneurs. So I'm doing it for her, and her is also all of the people listening, all the people in my life. And I want to show them that it's normal to cry and fuck up and want to give up, and that even the most inspirational women, who are the women I'm sitting here on the couch with, have no idea what they're doing.
Yeah.
And start over.
Most of the time.
Most of the time. So that's my inspiration.
Oh, that's amazing. That's beautiful. I can relate to that. And I think a lot of us can.
Oh, Aline, I'm so happy. Thank you so much. And for
really
everyone listening, all the information on where to find Aline, information about Vutter, where to buy it, how to get it, all the things will be posted in the show notes. So go and give her a stalk and go and dent that pack of Vutter.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.